months, April, May, June, before you take office, is when you've got to get the committees and committee chairmanships in order. And if you do that, the big things in the club kind of run themselves, and you can turn to running the weekly meetings. So it is not by any means daunting. It is a great way to meet people both in the club and outside. And I can't speak, and the training is excellent. So I can't speak highly enough for it, and I hope someone will consider and step up. And that brings.
I'd like to add one thing, Jim.
Yep.
This Rotary has a management team, and if you're president, you're not out there alone. Because the fact is, Jim does nothing all week. He stands up here for a few minutes while the management team does everything for you.
I strain over a lot of emails.
But I say that in jest because you're not alone. Jim, you don't feel alone.
No.
And Jim, God bless him, he's a good delegator. If you're not a good delegator, don't sign up. Because everybody works in this club, and I thought I'd just support you in that regard, Jim.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment, and I'll start working the rest of the day. One of the curious statistics about Rotary to keep in mind, and it reflects on this management team approach. I think that management team is particularly strong here in this particular club, but it is really built in to the Rotary model. Think about it. You've got more than 12,000, I don't know, it might be 14,000, and you get thousands and thousands of clubs all around the globe. They report to district administrations and district governors. There's something like 700 or 800 of those. And then there's the people, they report to the board, and you've got a president. And every year on the same day, every club president, every district governor, every national and international president leaves office at the same time. And you would never have any continuity if you didn't have exactly this kind of this team approach. So yeah, don't worry about being hung out to dry. That ain't gonna happen in this club. So that brings us to Happy Dollars. All right, who's happy, Joan, who just came back from vacation?
Okay. I'm happy $18 because I was away for 18 days. And I feel like I walked my feet off, but it was great. Thank you.
And you were where?
I went to Rome, Italy for 4 nights, and then a cruise for 12 nights and days, the Greek islands and Turkey.
Bravo. Very good. All right. Who else? Welcome home. Who's that? Oh, Bill.
Yes. I'm happy. To the tune of $10, $5 for me and $5 for Jackie, because this weekend. Okay, $10 for me, but Jackie was with me.
And I didn't have a good time.
Happy dollars.
Bill, I had a great time. And the highlights is I got a purple pinky and the flower to go with it.
All right.
I will share with you that I was disappointed that no other member of this club was there. And my goal is for next year to have at least 2 additional members join us. It's a renewal of why you join Rotary. And we need that every once in a while. Our Exmoor president was there, Tommy Arnold, and on the Sunday morning where we recognize all those who have died the year before, and there were a number of them. So we were blessed. We weren't
no one on that list.
Yeah, But Tommy did the invocation for that meeting on Sunday morning. So it was a great time. We had a great, in spite of what Jackie says, we had a great time.
All right. Who else? John Burgess.
It's a strange one, but so on Sunday, my oldest daughter turned 52. Wow. And yesterday, her husband, who will be 56 next month, had 5 bypasses.
Oh.
And he's doing great. And my daughter said back this morning they met their deductible and she might have plastic surgery for Christmas. That was what she had to say. 5 bypasses and successful surgery, maybe plastic surgery, and my new grill, $50.
50.
So, and you're putting all 50 into the pot, right?
I am.
Oh, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
I don't know why I wasn't 52.
All right, very good, very good. Who else? Any happy dogs? All right. Well, I think that brings us to our speaker. And John, do you want to say a word in introduction?
I'd like to. I didn't want to say I'm happy to have Holly and Curtis here because I want to introduce them real briefly. Holly is the head of school at Christian School. Maybe you know her. She is sort of related to Rick. Don't hold that against her. Sorry, Rick. Anyway, Curtis I met a few years ago. I've been involved in Christian School about 10 years, I think, something like that. It's been a lot of fun, a great honor. The program that Curtis will talk about, when I first heard about it, like a lot of people, and he may tell you that, I said, this doesn't make sense. But I'm telling you, if you pay income tax in Virginia, you could make a donation to the Christian School and get leverage, and he'll explain that to you. And Seal and I have done this now for about 7 years, 6 or 7 years. And I don't think we paid any income tax in Virginia for those years. Okay. Now, he'll explain to you how that works. Holly's going to talk to you a little bit about the school, for those who don't know about the school and what her job is. Curtis has some pretty significant information, so if you don't get it all, he will leave the brochures. You can talk to me. I've participated. It's really a good program. You can make a $500 minimum donation. Is that correct? Or $100,000 if you want to, and you can leverage it. Yeah, that would be good. Holly, if you want to come up and tell me about the school.
Thank you guys for having me. This is a great opportunity to talk to you about our school, and I'm going to keep it really brief because Curtis is our headliner here. But we're starting our 14th year right now. We're about a month in. We began in 2009, and we were in a couple different spots throughout the town, sort of spread out, and we were able to, through the grace of giving, move into what was the old Presbyterian Church on Tazewell in 2010. So we've been there for almost the entire time that we've been at school. Our mission is to educate the whole child: mind, body, spirit, and community. And everything we do focuses on those 4 components of our children. Mind is obvious, it's easy. We're a school. We teach them all of the things that they want to know and more. And then body, we spend a lot of time doing health education. We have a fitness class where they go to fitness every week. They have recess. Spirit, we have Bible class and we have chapel. We have Bible class on Wednesdays. We have chapel on Tuesdays. And prayer is incorporated into our daily life twice a day, if not more, depending on what's going on. We have multi-age classes where we have 2 grades in one classroom with 1 teacher. When we started out, that was sort of a necessity because we only had a few kids and a few teachers and we didn't have a whole lot of money. And we found that we loved it. It was the best model we could possibly follow. The teachers and the students build a relationship, a connection, where they're able to pick up where they left off on that 2nd year, not have to set the groundwork. It's just a fantastic way of doing things, and we really very much love that. We use project-based learning balanced with traditional classroom activities. We do use some technology, but we try to avoid overindulging them with technology because they're getting plenty of that outside of school. Our reading curriculum is authentic literature, authentic children's literature. We do not use a box curriculum. So students are learning to read using real books, and they are learning to love reading. We have a culture of the love of reading going on in our building all the time. Kids are exchanging books, teachers are exchanging books. It's really a great place to be if you're a reader. The town is our campus. Probably if you're in town, see us. We are in the park every day. Playground is what we use for our playground. The kids play on the field. We go to the library in town. We don't have an in-house library. We use the town library. We partner with New Roots. We've done some partnerships with the museum. We look for all kinds of opportunities that present themselves. And if anything comes your way that you think the school would be interested in, we would love to connect more. We did have a little bit of a hiccup with COVID and not being able to go out and about as much. We are over that and we are ready to roll. Let's see. Stewardship is a big part of our school. We do a lot of community service projects. We collected plastic. We collected 500 pounds of plastic, like packing material and bags from Food Lion and that kind of stuff, in order to earn a Next Trex bench. And we did that in conjunction with the Daughters of the American Revolution chapter on the shore. So that was a really great project, and we just got our bench. It sits out in front of our school, so if you're riding by, check it out. It's a very nice bench. We're going to continue that program because so much plastic is just going right into the landfill. So we were able to recycle that much plastic in just 6 months. So we're going to do it again. We just finished collecting clothes for the women's shelter in Nancock, Center for Domestic Violence. They were short clothing, children's clothing and women's clothing. We happen to have quite a few kids that have outgrown quite a few items of clothes. So we just hauled an entire SUV packed to the gills up to Nancock yesterday. So that was exciting. Our next project will be Operation Christmas Child, which we do every year. And then our middle schoolers do a little more outreach. We went to Camp Wakahonic last week and did some grounds maintenance up there to help them. And then I think next week or maybe it's the following week, we'll be going to Exmoor to work in the soup kitchen for the afternoon, or for the morning, I guess. That kind of leads me into Renew a Nation. Renew a Nation is a great organization, and I'm going to let Curtis tell you all about that. But I'm going to tell you what it's done for our school. Each year that we've been involved with Renew a Nation, we started 6 years ago, I think it was, our number of kids who are enrolled in our school who are receiving funding through Renew a Nation has increased. Our first year, there were 5 students who received funding through Renew a Nation. This year, we have 16. We have 58 total students. So you can see the impact that has. These students are receiving somewhere between 60 and 80% scholarship funds. So our tuition is $6,200. So they're receiving 60% of that, 70% of that, or 80% of that to help offset the cost of tuition. So all of our students are paying, and all of our families are paying and contributing to the tuition, but taking the 60, 70, or 80% load off makes our school accessible to so many more kids through this program. And I think that probably segues right into Curtis. In the past 6 years, we've received over $200,000 in scholarship funds through Renew a Nation. It's probably more than that. That was just an estimate. So, Curtis.
Great.
Questions?
Yeah. I brought everyone. If you don't have one of these, I'm happy to give you one so you can follow along. Does anybody need one? I hate that, Jeff. You guys need one?
Does everyone have one?
Guys, thanks for having me down. I drove down from Roanoke to be here, and I greatly appreciate y'all having me. Thank you, John, for inviting me. If you look, The program's name, of course, the state gave it a long name. It's the Virginia Education Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit Program. It is a tax credit program. There's about, I want to say 20 some odd states that have tax credit programs. And what it allows is it allows an individual or business privately to give and that money to go to a private school. And it funnels through an organization like us. And we're called a scholarship granting organization. That's what the state calls it. So we're a certified scholarship granting organization. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But it's from folks like John and other folks who have given to this program that really helps families stay at a school and continue their growth there. So they don't have to leave if they don't have the financial means. So it really is a blessing to children. And why I'm here is I really want to support Cape Charles Christian. I go around to many schools. We have about 45 and about 2 more that are actually coming on to be partners with us across the state. And I go and speak because I want your money to stay here at Cape Charles. I want your money to stay and support those 16 kids, and hopefully it's going to be 18 and 20. If we want to see growth, that would be awesome. And it's you know, you can imagine in times like these, families have difficulty paying for their kids. And we love that there's a choice that they can choose. Everybody doesn't learn the same, right? So we want to be a good steward and a partner for Cape Charles Christian School. But the first page that you come to is basically participation facts and benefits. This outlines really the core benefits of the program. So, and John can probably say these better than I can, but if you give, you give to us, we give to the schools, and we want your money again to stay here at Cape Charles. You can prefer that, but you would get a 65% state tax credit. So if you give $1,000, simple round number, you get $650 back as a credit. Okay, that's not a deduction. It's a full credit, dollar for dollar. We hope that's going to be increased, but we'll soon hopefully we'll see some more of that in the near future. But there's additional benefits in the sense that you also, if you itemize on your taxes and you don't take the standard deduction, you're able to get a deduction, both state and federal, on a portion of that donation. So that same $1,000 that I gave as an example, you would get the $650 back as a state tax credit. A portion of the gift that you just gave, that $1,000, would be eligible for a deduction. Now, I always tell folks, I'm not an accountant or a financial advisor. Don't even want to pretend like I am. I know enough about the program, been doing it for many, many years, and I've talked to many accountants. But again, the IRS rules, I think they deduct the gift, they deduct the 65% from the gift. So the eligibility for the deduction piece is maybe 35% at maximum, which if you do the math, that's 100%, makes you whole. So what we see from most givers, and we've got about 220 givers, that the average, and I test myself with folks, and you can, hopefully I won't be wrong, but usually for those who itemize, a conservative number of return on investment is 90%. I'm being conservative.
That's fair. Now, if you are still itemizing, as some are, what you're sort of trading is your deduction of state income tax, which you're no longer paying for a gift to this entity. Okay, so if you're in a 25% marginal tax bracket, which is a pretty low bracket, you know, for most people, that's the top bracket, not your average, then that's what you get 25% of the $1,000. So you get another $250 on that. So you do get, and we've done that. We have gotten, you know, nearly 100% back in tax savings based on this program. So if you don't itemize, it's still a great program if you don't itemize, because itemize is a really good program.
Thank you for adding that. So I've tested again. So that I like to be somewhat right when I'm talking about this, so nobody has any false ideas. So it is. I give myself, of course, I came to a ministry and I only get the 65%, but at the end of the year, it's great. I can share that with all the schools. So
our staff, most of our staff are also contributors.
They are. That's wonderful to have people engaged in that. So so again, the program is open to individuals and businesses. So if you have a business, you can decide what you want to give, whatever your accountant says that you maximize your gift to as a tax strategy or what have you. But as an individual, the minimum gift is $500. I think John talked about that. So minimum's $500, which would be a $325 tax credit. So that's the minimum. The maximum for an individual, now this is businesses, business can decide what they want to give. The maximum is $125,000. That's per person, not per household. And believe it or not, we do have several families that give $125,000 each, both spouses. So so it is.
That's not us, by the way. I wish it were.
But John, we have to talk about that.
I know.
So it can be monetary gifts or marketable securities. And I see a lot of marketable securities, and I like just to share that a little bit with you. And I've talked to accountants, and what happens is folks who've had a stock or a security for years and years and years and years, and they bought it low and they hold on to it for their life, they actually make more money from carving a piece of that and giving it. Now that's what the CPAs tell me. So they take a little piece off, and it actually saves them some money in the long run. And it also has a little more return on investment added to that deduction piece and the state tax credit. So again, if you're interested in that, please talk to your accountant or your financial advisor. And again, a lot of folks don't know about this program. So feel free. I think there's some blue packets there. My card should be inside in those blue packets that are in the middle of the table. And feel free to send your CPA to me. You call me, email me, text me, whatever you want. I'm always available. So you're not bothering me at all, please. And you're impacting the lives of children right here in Cape Charles, and that's why I'm here. So I drove here because they have a lot of need. And so what we give them, even though it sounded like a lot,
busted.
Is that my time?
No, busted. Now you have it on silent.
Okay, I'll try to be shorter. But again, we want your money, if you're interested in it, to stay here at Cape Charles Christian School and help those families right here. Again, we can prefer that. We make sure we do that because there's a lot of need. Even though it sounds like a lot with 16 kids, the state has set what you would call either the district limit that they live in, which would be, where do your children come from, Cape Charles?
Northampton County.
Northampton? Do you know what that district limit is?
I don't off the top of my head. I don't know.
My guess is it's probably 5,500, 6,000.
I think it was 56.
56, I'm close. So a family that lives in Northampton County could get $5,600 or the school's tuition annually, whichever is the lesser. And that's how the state has the program because they govern basically. So if it's her tuition is more than the district, 56, we can only give them $5,600 annually a year, which is still a lot of money for a family, especially if it's a single parent household. You can imagine them having to come up with those funds. And again, it's a choice for that family. But if you think about it, 16 kids at $6,000 or $5,000, it's a lot of money, a lot of need there. So there's quite a bit of room to use your money here. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to skip a few things. You can see the giving opportunity. This is just the growth of the program since it started in 2018 on the second page. I'm going to skip over to eligibility guidelines. And I think it's important just to show you why they've had growth. This is a great program in the state. We're blessed to have it. Again, it's a bipartisan program, and it's been out since 2012. The big nuts and bolts of how students are eligible and qualify is, of course, they're a Virginia resident, right? Cape Charles, Virginia resident, and any kindergarten or first graders at Cape Charles or any private school are automatically eligible. Any child that comes out of a public school that comes into Cape Charles or any private school is eligible. I'm going to skip one. A new resident to Virginia. They're coming from Maryland. I think Maryland's what, closest here, maybe? Anyone coming from Maryland into Cape Charles or a private school in the area would be eligible. And the big thing is, any student who has previously received funds from this program is automatically eligible until they graduate. So you can imagine kindergarten or first graders, and then those 16 kids who have just received funds, it follows them all the way up. If there's money there to give them and to help those families. So that's the neat thing about the program. If we have the funds and we're blessed and we have been having them, and with folks like John and teachers, educationalists, then we just keep sharing that money. And we also, just so you guys know, we have a huge group around the state that gives just to us, and we share those funds too. So we've been giving Cape Charles. Yes, sir.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. So the big thing is the program is very robust in that after eligibility, the qualification, it's financial qualification. And I gave you a little chart. If you see a family of 4, whether that's a 2-parent family and 2 kids, or a single parent family and 3 kids, they can still make $83,250. That's not low income. That's why 33% of the families that have children in the state of Virginia are financially eligible for this program. And that's why they're going to keep growing, because they're going to have an opportunity. They've made it large, wide enough for financial income eligibility that it captures a lot of families and gets them help. Those are the big nuts and bolts. I will say it's a super easy, the last piece I'll say is a super easy donation process, in the sense that this doesn't go through the state, it comes directly through us. We have a secure portal, and all you have to do is say, hey, Curtis, tell me more about it. I'd like to donate. You give me your email. I send you this form right here that I've made a copy of. It's called a pre-authorization form. Excuse me, it's on the page before that. Pre-authorization form. You fill it out in a secure portal that I send you a link to. It comes directly to me. And then I send you the next page is what's called the pre-authorization notice. It is truly the approval notice. And I send you this back with directions. You don't have to think. You don't have to do anything. We handle everything for you. If you're ready to send in your donation, you mail this in signed with your donation, and then we will process it. And the next page is your certificate for your tax credit. And there's an example in there. And then in about 2-3 weeks or so, we will send you your certificate to you. So we do everything for you. You don't have to think about it. Again, it is truly a blessing for families that want the opportunity to go to a great school like Cape Charles. And there's more information about us in here and where our heart is. But we just do it for the families and the kids. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Curtis, I don't recall your mentioning the one of the first items on the second page here, that those greater than 72 may donate from an IRA.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I was limited on time. I felt like the buzzer went off and I didn't get off.
That would benefit the people that don't itemize, for example.
Sure. That's a great thing. Yeah. So you're exactly right. I put that in there. So folks who have an IRA and they're 72 or older, and I think it's 72 because I think they moved the age from 71 to 72. But if you have to take that required minimum distribution from your IRA, like a lot of folks do, and they don't really want to do it, you can give through this program, through us. You can, it'll cover your required minimum distribution, and you get a 65% state tax credit back. Doesn't count towards income. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say that I participated and I find the process very easy, and so you're being very helpful along the way when I needed it.
I appreciate it.
Good to hear. Very good to hear. Steve,
last question. For this tax year, when should we have this done?
That's an awesome question. I can do it all the way up to December 31st because it's electronic. I asked to do it by December 30th because I send you the form, the pre-authorization electronically. When you click the send,
no, it's mentioned past the first.
No, sir. So the pre-authorization notice, which is the approval, has to have a December 31st date on it. The match your check or before.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, before you go, the club made a contribution to the Leadership Council, and we've underwritten the distribution of 50 of these Navy Great books, which is kind of the graduating book from the Dolly Parton free book giveaway. Dolly's shaking her head. Yes. So, all right. So when they finish with that, then they get a Rotary book, and inside will be a little plaque with your name, and the donation, and Holly, and school. And thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Relatively new to the club and haven't been very big girls fishing. All of our teachers are former public school teachers. We're not an anti-public school system. Most of us, including myself and my kids, all went to public school. So if that kind of is any impediment to you, we're there and we provide a very unique education. The kids do great and they do great when they leave there. So I just want you to be aware of that. They're all public school teachers, principals, and those kind of things. So.
And it's the only school in Cape Charles. If you're concerned with more workforce development and you want to get more people down here, hey, the people who we'd be attracting probably have kids. So it all integrates and it all preserves this community.
And
so,
if you have questions or anything about the school or would like to come and take a tour, we're open to that and like stuff like that.
Good.
This is
Last question.
An observation. The fact that you use the town of Cape Charles as your campus.
Yes.
I mean, that's huge,
it's
right?
a great blessing. It's so amazing.
Tremendous.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and join in the Rotary Pledge? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Ladies and gentlemen, go in service.
Stand.
Oh, and stand. I can't stop. I'm going to tattoo you on my forehead.
Will we have fun?
Yes, we will. Thank you all.
Joan, the last time you had a stack of blank cards like that and pencils available if we needed them.
I'll bring it.
Just stay here.